Good morning, welcome back. Now today, Yamaha XJR 1300 clutch slave cylinder rebuild. Now we've had messages from at least 6 of you with XJRs saying, are you going to deal with the infamous clutch slave cylinder, which always leaks at some point or another. Now this one isn't leaking, so what that means is it's either been dealt with already, which looking at the state of it, I don't think it has, or it's just been lucky so far. Either way, it probably will, and while we're doing everything else, we may as well do it. So I've got myself a seal kit, let's strip it apart, get stuck in. Now as I said in the wheel bearings video, I don't need to show you how to take the wheel out, put it back in again, you know how to do that. I just focused it on changing the bearings, and it's the same with this. I don't have to show you how to take this off the engine. It's only held on with 3 screws. Just take them out and you'll be in this position. But do leave the hydraulic line connected, because we need that in place for the very first job. Now we all know the dramas you can sometimes have getting pistons out of cylinders if they're a bit jammed, but if the system's working and it's connected up and all functioning correctly, even if it's leaking, why not just pump the lever and push it out until it pops the seals and falls out in the tray, like this. Right, now obviously this is about a slave cylinder rebuild and it's going to take me 5 minutes to do that. Just shortly, it's all apart, ready to go. But what's very important is to take this opportunity to clean out your sprocket cover. Obviously the slave cylinder bolts to this, so when I put all this back together, I'm not going to put all that filthy black sludge that was on there back over my brand new chain and sprockets. So I've cleaned it out, absolutely spotless. I've now also got the little vibration pad out as well, so I can clean all the sludge out from behind that, and it's absolutely fine, nothing wrong with it. And what I am going to do is, because the screws that were holding this in, you saw how tight they were, I'm going to replace them with brand new screws and some little spring washers, and I'm going to thread lock them in as well, because there's no way you can afford for those 3 little screws to rattle their way out. This is a vibration pad, so it's there for a reason. It proves there's vibration, so make sure a nice dab of thread lock on these so they don't vibrate out and make contact with the sprocket as it spins round. But hey, that's quite obvious, I'm sure you knew that. Let's put this back together and we'll get on with the cylinder. Right, just a consideration, if I can offer. When you put this together, naturally the seal won't go into the cylinder dry. You need to lubricate it with something. And if you're riding the bike this afternoon, you're just going to flood it up and take it for a little test ride after bleeding it. No problem at all. Just use some brake fluid. That's absolutely fine. Clean brake fluid on the seal, a wipe around the inside of the cylinder, job done. And afterwards, when you bleed it up, it'll all be fine. But this isn't as straightforward as that. This is a project. It's going to be off the road for some time. So there's a slightly different consideration. And that is that a smear of brake fluid isn't often enough if you're going to leave it for a couple of months while you do other stuff on the project before you bleed everything up. It can dry out, stick to the inside of the cylinder, and when you start to move it and bleed it through, it can rip and start to leak. So the better way to do it is use a little smear of red silicone rubber grease around the inside. That will stay put like an assembly lube, and when you do come to flood it up with fluid and bleed it through, it will wash this out completely harmless. That's what it's designed for, and I'm going to do that. Now, in your kit with your slave cylinder rebuild rubbers, you might get one of these. That is a clutch pushrod seal. Now, if you get one in the kit, always replace it if you can, because it's always worth it. It will cause a drip of oil out through the pushrod when the engine's at working temperature. And really, there's simplicity itself to fit. You need a tool, make a tool. It takes just a few seconds, and the old one pops out first time. I'll show you. Right. Now you need a disposable Allen key, the kind you get with self-assembly furniture, and you do this. Make a pair of mole grips and clamp it nice and tight. So you've now got a hooky tool. Take out the push rod. And there's the seal. And pop the end of the Allen key in through the hole, hook it up against the side because it's got a metal liner inside it, and just pull it out. Just like that. Now clean out the hole to remove any leftover bits of rubber or debris that the old seal might have left behind. When it's nice and clean, take your new seal, and you'll notice on the inside it's got kind of a metal liner. It's kind of solid. So take a socket that is exactly the same size as the outer circumference of the seal, and then use the socket, and you're hitting just around the outside, and just drift it in very gently. There we are. And then, carefully, with a light smear of oil on it, slide your push rod back through the new seal very carefully. Right, there we go, the notorious clutch slave cylinder, fully rebuilt, and also a clutch pushrod seal while I'm at it. Always do that if you get a chance, and whenever you take your chain cover off, always give it a clean out in there, because that grit and sludge that builds up in there does no good to your chain whatsoever, quite obviously. Now that is it. Now normally I would fill this up with fluid, but there's a simple reason why not. Now not only have I yet to rebuild the master cylinder, because I'm still waiting for the seals, but also this oil filter, this spin-on canister, that's not a standard fitment. I think I've mentioned this already. It's normally a flat plate down inside and there's plenty of room, but because that's there, the hydraulic hose is right in front of it, and I will need to change that in the future, which means moving the hose. So I'll fill it up and bleed all the clutch and the brakes, everything else, all at the end after I've done the oil change. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Oh, the microphone's not on.
Oh, right.
Hang on.
Good morning. Welcome back. Today, yeah. What was I going to say? Ow, that didn't work. Right, good morning. Welcome back. Now today, Yamaha XJR 1300 clutch slave. Duh.